Hello friends, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. I'm just walking away from Wales against Iran. Oh, Welsh fans, talk to me. You got me fuming. Just because you could have played a back four from the start there and had a little bit of a go there, and it could have been quite different. Iran was so much better than they were against England. A lot more offensively minded, really vertical in how they played. As Moon came into the side, he was happy to run those channels, look to get the ball in behind quickly. It was really hot here. Like generally the games, because of the air conditioning, it's not hot at all actually in the stadium or like down on the, obviously the pitch. But there was a lot of sun on the pitch and in Wales's half. And I do think that played a bit of a part in terms of like defensive transitions. This Welsh team just lacking a bit of legs in certain areas, and I think there were some certain moves that looked sensible in terms of the starting lineup, but overall actually didn't help Wales at all. In particular, sort of the back three, if you think about the game against the US, in the second half, sort of later on, they changed it and went to a four and were much more, it was much better from an attacking point of view, and I think that's what really hurt them in this game, is the fact that when they changed it and got Ramsey higher up the pitch and got Brennan Johnson on the pitch, and you had that bit of pace, they just looked like they had more chance of scoring a goal. And in the first half, it was just quite, you just had players not getting on the ball. Essentially, Gareth Bale was kind of playing as an advanced forward and barely touched it. I wonder if they were just trying to kind of keep him going for the full 90 minutes. You then had Ramsey, who in a double pivot, he's struggling these days. He hasn't got the legs to do it anymore, and he looked much better once he was higher up the pitch and closer to Gareth Bale. And then you got Harry Wilson. At this stage of his career, he's got to step up in these kind of games, and he didn't. I thought he was really disappointing. Like he has to get on the ball more. He has to affect the game more, and especially if you think of the position that he was playing. Ramsey was sort of sacrificing a little bit and being that little bit more sensible, whereas Harry Wilson was the guy who was allowed to go further up the pitch. And if you're going to be that, especially in a back three, which is a back five, right, you better do something. And he really didn't. He didn't get on the ball. He didn't affect the game. He didn't go and demand the ball. And it meant that in that sort of quick transition, defensive transition from Iran, they hurt them and had a goal which looked clearly offside. But to be honest, they were through. That final pass didn't need to be made. They could have gone and scored prior to that. But they got away with it, Wales. Changed it up in the second half, started to look a little bit better. Brennan Johnson, I feel like, has been underutilised in this tournament. I think he's got something to offer. And just the fact that he's sort of effective as a right winger, I felt like he should have been part of these two games. And I feel like in the next game, they will obviously go to a back three because you have to. It's England, right? But this one, I don't want to be too harsh on Robert Page because ultimately you have to, this is the smallest country at the tournament in terms of population. And it's been an amazing generation of players, and they've squeezed every last drop out of what they've got in terms of that team. But at the same time, that quality in those key moments, which is there in terms of the personnel on the pitch, it just didn't click, did it? It just never really happened for them, and Iran completely deserved it. The goals, when they went in, place completely erupted. First one being an absolute screamer. We haven't even spoken about the sending off, which he gave a booking, and I was thinking, the reason it's a booking is not because he didn't clatter him, because obviously he did, but it was because he wasn't the last man, and I was sort of behind it, sort of in front of it. I was behind it in terms of I could see it in front of me, so I couldn't see if there was a last man, coming back to cover, but it looked like it was. Let me know in the comments below if that was right. But the reason I think they went back to it was, first of all, the Iran players were all around the referee. Secondly, I'm presuming it was because his leg was so high. And obviously, once that happens, it's going to be difficult to stay in the game. But it's an absolute screamer from Chesney, I think it was, who scored it. Absolute pile driver, and just wheels away, and all the players come running on the pitches, and the crowd just absolutely erupted. And obviously, it just sucked the life out of Wales, who had another little go after that. Like in all of these games, obviously you're seeing it, there's just so much added time, which is overall has been good because the sort of time wasting has calmed down a little bit. But again, Wales got into nice areas, but Kiefer Moore's touch is bad. Bale was quiet. You know, Dan James comes on and doesn't really do enough. Nico Williams gets into some good areas to get a shot off, doesn't strike the ball properly. And yeah, I think it's certainly the end of an era. Obviously, they have to go and beat England now. You never know in football. Could happen, but it does feel like they're on the brink now. And if you're being really harsh, they've not really gone for it in these first two games. It's been about hanging in there, which is how they've played for a long time. They set up how we thought they would, how we spoke about in the previews for them. But really, they just looked... You might have been a little bit more open, but you would have had more, you know, square pegs in square holes with the likes of Ramsey, who, when you're out there watching it, when he is with Gareth Bale and they interlink, there's something special there. But that didn't occur because Ramsey was so deep all the time. To a man, I think the expectations of what you're trying to get out of this Wales squad is always really, really high. But today, they just weren't at it. And Iran now, in their final game against USA, you know, fingers crossed England will get the job done tonight and win the game. I'll be doing a reaction after that, of course, as well. But that's going to be an absolute belter, Iran versus USA. And it's all to play for, in this group. Heartbreaking for Wales. Welsh fans, talk to me. How are you feeling? Are you upset? Are you accepting of it? And Iran fans, talk to me as well. I mean, it's two absolutely gorgeous goals. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit the like button for me, subscribe. There's a lot of content out there right now, but thank you so much for choosing this video and clicking on it. I'll see you in the next one. Come on, England.